Dimmitt finally getting the better of that matchup between him and Greener. Greener just losing his footing as he's chasing Dimmitt around goal line extended. Dimmitt ends up with a one-on-one against Colesworthy and buries it.
We're set at the face-off X. 7-3, 6.5 to play here in the second quarter. First semifinal game in the RMLC tournament amongst the Division II ranks. Tune in at 1 p.m. Mountain, 3 p.m. Eastern for Metro State and Colorado Mines. Ball worked into the zone. Touched by Hunter for Montana State. He feeds far side for Brown, and Brown's going to carry it back up top outside the box. Spins, feeds Page. Page rifles one wide of the cage. Richmond there for the backup.
That seems to be Page's bread and butter right there, is just right off of the substitution, get the ball in his stick and rifle it high to high.
Ball fed to the top for Carroll. Carroll looks to go one-on-one with Washington. Feeds Page. Page tries to work it down low for Rizzolo. That ball gets away out of bounds. Give it to Fort Lewis. Skyhawks will restart. On the far side, Henriksen kicks it to Pike, and Pike is going to carry up the middle of the field. Feed it to midfield for Dimmitt. Dimmitt carries into the zone. Montana State out shooting Fort Lewis 12-3 in this quarter. Believe it was 12-3 in the first, so 20. Fort Lewis works the ball behind goal line extended for Yako. Yako feeds the ball far side, still behind the goal line extended. Now bringing it up to goal line extended, trying to work his way through three men on that far side was Branch Boyle. Almost turns the ball over, there to scoop it up for the Skyhawks. Yako comes out front, tries to bounce one. That one goes wide of the cage. Colesworthy will get the chase. And it's going to be Montana State ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's just positioning on the offense, ball awareness, not having anybody back behind the cage for the chase. And Yako, I think he just got caught up trying to dip and dive through so many defenders to get himself topside that when he finally didn't even look at the cage, just tried to fire it off before he lost possession.
In tow. Ball gets kicked up top now. Dimmitt has it. Fort Lewis settling it in. 3:40 to play in period number 1, or period number 2, first half. Kalezi will work it up the far sideline. Kalezi rolls to the inside, back to the outside. Now he's got a clear path across midfield. He's going to feed the middle of the field for Pugh. Climbs the ladder and pulls it down. Tries to force the feed for Brown. It's batted away by Henriksen, and Henriksen scoops up the loose ball. Feeds it back to Pike. Pike will work the clear. Pike overshoots his man at midfield. That was Dilly. Greenlee comes up with it. Feeds Carroll, and Carroll carries back into the box. Clean first half of play between these two, and that's always good to see.
It is. I think as you get deeper into the season, too, especially during postseason, the referees tend to let these players play a little bit more, tend to let some 50-50 calls, instead of calling them and stopping play, just let things go. Makes the game more interesting, that's for sure.
Fort Lewis has 4 failed clears here in the second quarter. There's number 5. Ball works near side for Richmond. Richmond to Pugh. Pugh goes low to high, saved by Pike. Rizzolo scoops up the loose ball. Feeds it back to the top for Pugh. Pugh would skip pass to Brown, and Brown feeds down to goal line extended for Richmond. Feeding the middle of the field. That shot goes high over the cage off the cross of Rizzolo.
And Hayden Pike is hurting right now off of that low to high shot from Pugh. I believe it hit him in his bottom hand, which would be his right hand, as he was holding it as the ball went out of bounds.
Brown circles the cage, fires one wide of it. Backed up there by Richmond. for Montana State. A $1:41 left to play in the first half. Max Frater's going to head to the far sideline where he'll have a halftime interview with Coach Tom Mudrak for Fort Lewis. Ball worked to the middle of the field for Pugh. Pugh has the ball taken away and is, quite frankly, his entire cross by Schwartzendruber. Great check by the defenseman from Green Mountain High School in Lakewood, Colorado. Clear. Comes to the near side of the field. And we're going to have a timeout on the field. Fort Lewis. You're watching the RMLC tournament presented by Movement Training Systems.
West is the first name in lacrosse out west. For more than 15 years, Tribal West has been gearing up beginners to ballers. Our online store is super easy, and we save you time and money. And team stores, let us do your work. Our deals for both men's and women's MCLA teams are flat out lax-tastic. We just made that up. Sublimated unis, made in the USA, and delivered on time. Tribal West, proud to be family-owned and player-operated. Tribal West, look good, play better.
The specialists at Highlands Ranch Glass have one goal: to offer you the most professional commercial and residential glass services in the metro area. Our expert glass services include shower enclosures, window glass repair, and commercial storefronts. Our Glassworks operation allows us to customize any job for the perfect glass solution. We've been providing high-quality glass services in the metro area for over 60 years. Highlands Ranch Glass offers a clear difference. Call us today and see for yourself.
Your passion is your story. Big Bite tells stories. Your story is your brand. Big Bite builds brands. Your brand is your business. Big Bite. You do you. We'll do the rest.
Welcome back. We're in Boulder. We apologize for those technical difficulties, folks. You can catch us on all those outlets you've been reading about on the MCLA website and what we've been touting through social media. Make sure you're tuning in. We're glad you're with us. It's 7-3. We're at a minute to play here in the first half from Boulder. It's the first semifinal of the RMLC championships. Fort Lewis and Montana State. Montana State with that 4-goal lead. Fort Lewis is going to turn the ball over in the middle of the field. Nice job there, keeping the ball in play by the Skyhawks. Still a 50-50 ground ball far side. Finally scooped up by Deal for the Bobcats. Worked to the middle of the field by Schwal. Schwal is going to carry down the middle of the field. Feed Page. Page can't come up with the ball, trying to shoot before he had it. Scooping it up on the far side is Brown, and Brown kicks it up top for Carroll. Carroll works to the near side, fires the shot on Cage, sails just wide, back up by Montana State. We've got another timeout on the field, folks. This time Montana State with 10 seconds left to play in the first half. Again, to sum up this first half, it's been a game dominated so far by Montana State. They're out shooting, they're out clearing, they're out creating turnovers against Fort Lewis. They have a 7-3 lead. And we're going to send it to break right here on the RMLC Championships presented by Movement Training Systems.
MTS has guided my training since high school. I thought I knew how to run, but after them breaking it down and showing you actually the fundamentals, I could feel myself getting faster after each session. I've had to kind of look in within myself and make it a goal of myself just to become a better athlete, and MTS has helped me get along that way.
And Eric Moss put this team on his back here.
It brings that individual personal training to the team concept. But they're scientific behind it. They are helping athletes become quicker, faster, and stronger.
Tribal West is the first name in lacrosse out west. For more than 15 years, Tribal West has been gearing up beginners to ballers. Our online store is super easy, and we save you time and money. And team stores, let us do your work. Our deals for both men's and women's MCLA teams are flat out lax-tastic. We just made that up. Sublimated unis, made in the USA, and delivered on time. Tribal West, proud to be family owned and player operated. Tribal West, look good, play better.
The team. It teaches us the importance of setting.
Welcome back to Boulder. 10 seconds to play, first half. Montana State with the ball in the corner. That's Richmond. He tries to feed, does successfully to the middle of the field for Pugh. Pugh bounces it wide with 2 seconds to play here in the first half. Rizzola will restart on the near side in the corner. Feeds the middle of the field. An unsuccessful pass to the middle of the field, and the halftime score is 7-3. A great first half of action for Montana State here in the RMLC Championships. Max Frater is going to be with Coach Tom Mudrak from Fort Lewis here in just a moment. Montana State again with the 7-3 lead. We're at halftime in the first semifinal here in the RMLC Championships. Let's go ahead and send it down to Max with Tom Mudrak.
Here with the Fort Lewis head coach, Tom Mudrak. Coach, goals not in your favor. A couple of turnovers, shots, and faceoffs going in possession or going in favor of the Bobcats. It's only a 4-goal game. Your thoughts on the first 30 minutes of play?
They're doing a great job in the ride, so we've got to just calm down when we've got the ball in our stick and make the right play and just clean up the turnovers. If we do that, like you said, we're only down 4, so we're right in this thing.
Obviously a short roster at 15. Have you seen fatigue play any role in the game here in the first half?
Well, I've got 3 midfielders playing offense and defense, so that's definitely a concern of ours for this second half, so something we're just going to have to coach around.
Point of emphasis going into the second half.
Take a breath. Hey, take a breath. Have fun. We're playing the best team in the conference. Let's come out and let's just play as hard as we possibly can.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Max.
Back to you guys in the booth.
Thanks, Max. Appreciate that. We're at halftime. Montana State leading Fort Lewis in the Movement Training Systems RMLC Championships. Back with more halftime after this.
John Bacon, former linebacker at the University of Oregon. There isn't an app out there that takes your data of what you were able to do, define an intensity level, and then interpret that and provide a weight for you for the next set. We're doing things that make football players better power lifters, better direct line sprinters. That's what this is changing. There needs to be an evolution in how we train athletes. This is it.
At 5280 Waste Solutions, your trash is our business. We can handle any size job with our huge variety of roll-offs. We're the leader in commercial disposal with our industrial-sized containers, but our sweet spot is for you do-it-yourselfers and landscapers. Our newest can fits right into your garage. With 5280, you get one price and no hidden fees. When it's time to clean, think green. At 5280, we can't wait to get our hands on your trash.
Your passion is your story. Big Bite tells stories. Your story is your brand. Big Bite builds brands. Your brand is your business. Big Bite. You do you. We'll do the rest.
Welcome back to Boulder, everybody. Dan Matthews with you here at halftime. Our halftime score, 7-3 in favor of the Montana Bobcats. And earlier this week, I had the opportunity to speak with Eric Law from City Lax.
City Lax is a 501c3 nonprofit youth organization in the Northeast Denver area in the Park Hill corners, and it's a program that's using lacrosse as an educational enrichment opportunity to further kids along in their education. And started 10 years ago with one team, and now on the field in the spring we have 14 teams. So it's pretty crazy to see how much the program has really taken off and how much the program has done for the community over in the Northeast Park Hill area.
Talk a little bit more in depth about City Lax and how it's established and what you guys do in a little bit detail.
So City Lax is 100% free of charge to all of our participants. What we do is we go around to schools and rec centers and recruit kids that want to come play lacrosse and give lacrosse a first chance. And once they get interested in lacrosse and once they come out and play with us, then we're a year-round program putting them into different activities and different leadership and enrichment opportunities. We take kids camping, we take kids skiing for the first time. Kids have gone out to camps on a plane for the very first time in the summers. We do college tours and visits, do college test prep and ACT and SAT tutoring. So it's really a year-round program that all starts with just lacrosse. And it's much more than just going out and having a kid run around with a stick in their hands. It's teaching educational, and it's teaching skill life development opportunities.
There are a couple of local success stories that we know about. Jaden Franklin is at the University of Denver. Trayvon Hamlet up at the University of Colorado right here at this tournament this weekend. Who are some of the other success stories?
Yeah, so Trayvon, I'm going to give him a quick shout out. Last year, he took the year off from playing and actually came down and coached one of our teams. So he was on the very first City Lax team. This last year, he came back to coach a team, and to see the kids really respond to that was absolutely incredible. And Trayvon's such a good kid. I'd love to see him that he's back on the field. But some of our first ever players, JoJo Franklin is Jaden's sister, is out at Goucher University and was the player of the year for their conference last year. There's a lot of great players coming through the program and starting to get there. And for me, to see someone see their future change because of lacrosse, it means all the world.
How do people get more information about City Lax?
Anytime you want more information about City Lax, come check us out on social media. We're always looking for sponsorships and donations. And 100% of all of our donations and sponsorships that we get in go directly back to the kids. And that's kind of the most important thing is a program that's looking to expand and get more kids introduced to the sport for the first time. Fundraising and money is always our number one issue.
Donate to City Lax. You can do it at citylax.com, and it's a very worthy organization. That was Eric Law joining us here at halftime. Our halftime score, Montana State 7, Fort Lewis 3, here on the MTS RMLC Championships. We'll be back with more halftime after this.
The team. It teaches us the importance of setting goals, gives us an appreciation of diversity, provides stronger peer relationships and greater self-esteem, and shows the importance of working together. Play It Again Sports has the new and quality used sports and fitness gear for all teams, and we also pay on the spot for your gear from last season. We are on your team. Play It Again Sports, the official sponsor of all those who play.
I was sinking deep underneath.
It's the best smoke show in Denver. GQ Barbecue is Colorado's premier competitive barbecue team, and now you can experience their championship-winning flavors. Fire, smoke, and time, combined with the finest quality meats, best seasonings, and freshest ingredients, make for the best barbecue around. Stop in for our championship-winning brisket, ribs, wings, and sausage, or have us cater your next event. Eat championship barbecue every day at GQ Barbecue.
Back, we're at halftime, folks, and our halftime stats heavily dominated by Montana State. They are out shooting Fort Lewis 32-7 in the first half. Faceoffs 11-1 in favor of Montana State, and turnovers 14 turnovers for Fort Lewis to 10 for the Montana State Bobcats. Hence our 7-3 halftime score. We're going to send it down to Max Frater on the field with Montana State head coach Chris Kelly.
All right, Max Frater here with Montana State head coach. Scored 7-3 right now, but the scoreboard could be a lot more. You guys have gotten a lot of looks offensively. What do you think opened up things on the offensive end so much?
Our middies are moving more off ball. We really need that. We're just opening up each other off of a screen set that we need to do, but we really need to clean it up, be a little more patient, and then we'll be able to bury the ball a little bit more.
And then defensively holding Fort Lewis to only 3 goals. What do you credit your defense playing so well to?
Better, clear, concise communication. We talk about it all year long, and they're really just focusing in on it right now, making sure we're not sliding when we don't need to, but being there when we need it.
Point of emphasis going into the second half to close this one out.
First time GBs. That's it. GBs wins games.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
7-3 is our halftime score. Montana State with the lead over Fort Lewis.
MTS has guided my training since high school. I thought I knew how to run, but after them breaking it down and showing you actually the fundamentals, I could feel myself getting faster after each session. I've had to kind of look in within myself and make it a goal of myself just to become a better athlete, and MTS has helped me get along that way.
And Eric Loss put this team on his back here.
It brings that individual personal training to the team concept. But they're scientific behind it. They are helping athletes become quicker, faster, and stronger.
The team. It teaches us the importance of setting goals, gives us an appreciation of diversity, provides stronger peer relationships and greater self-esteem, and shows the importance of working together. Play It Again Sports has the new and quality used sports and fitness gear for all teams, and we also pay on the spot for your gear from last season. We are on your team. Play It Again Sports, the official sponsor of all those who play.
At 5280 Waste Solutions, your trash is our business. We can handle any size job with our huge variety of roll-offs. We're the leader in commercial disposal with our industrial-sized containers. But our sweet spot is for you do-it-yourselfers and landscapers. Our newest can fits right into your garage. With 5280, you get one price and no hidden fees. When it's time to clean, think green. At 5280, we can't wait to get our hands on your trash.
Welcome back, everybody. We're in Boulder. 7-3 is our halftime score, just about set for the third quarter. Max, a really dominant performance by Montana State.
Yeah, as I mentioned, during that halftime interview with Coach Kelly, I think the scoreboard could be a lot more in favor of Montana State, but weren't able to connect on Cage on all the looks that they were getting. But, for both ends of the field, up top, their middies were firing on all cylinders, and then down below, you've got Rizzolo distributing the ball really well to wide open Richmond. So, they're clicking at all aspects on offense. You see it right here, right off the draw.
Yeah, Pugh feeds the middle of the field for Deal. His shot goes over the top of the cage. Backed up by Brown, who restarts for Montana State and feeds Richmond.
And that all starts at the face-off X, too. I mean, that's really where the domination starts, is that Montana State is getting all of these opportunities on offense. They're going to put some of the back in the net, and it starts with Pugh as well as Hunter taking control at the X.
Richmond at X with the ball, marked up defensively by LaPointe. Feeds it far side for Rizzolo, who kicks it up top. Back to Rizzolo on the wing. Ball worked to the middle of the field, intended for Pugh. Pugh's going to chase it down on the near side. He'll get the stop. Nice job by Jack Pugh. Pugh switches to the left, carries across the top of the box, fakes the pass, looks to Crank, instead feeds it to Carroll on the wing. Ball works all the way around for Brown, who kicks it up top for Page. Page down the alley, feeds the middle of the field for Rizzolo, bounces off his cross for Pugh, and Pugh feeds it to Carroll. Carroll works beyond goal line extended and behind the cage. Hayden Pikes had a really nice first half. 7 saves, for Hayden Pike. And interestingly enough, Colesworthy doesn't have a save, but he's only faced 7 shots and only 3 of those on cage.
They've been a lot of wild shots. I mean, they haven't really gotten a lot of time and room other than the one goal by Branch Boyle. That was the only set offense goal that Fort Lewis has gotten so far. But for the most part, they just haven't been able to generate anything offensively. They're not winning their individual matchups. Ball movement off ball, isn't really crisp. So even when they have the ball on offense, things just aren't clicking for them.
Behind the back shot goes wide by Page. It's a nice look by Page.
First shot that was under 90 miles an hour coming off of the stick from Page.
Montana State resets. Ball up top for Carroll. Carroll's going to give it up for Pugh, who's going to be picked up defensively by Dorsey. His feet comes right back up top in the 2-man game for Carroll. Now work down low for Brown. Goal line extended and behind the cage for Richmond. Richmond kicks it back to the wing and up top for Pugh. Pugh sweeps across the top of the box. Feeds back to Page. Cannon from Cage goes wide. Richmond gets the backup. Long possession for Montana State. Opening possession of the second half. 2.5 minutes in. The feed intended for the middle of the field for Rizzolo. And look at Pugh chasing it down again. Ball moves fairly rapidly across turf, and Pugh's doing a great job on those loose balls. Now he fires one wide of the cage. Richmond there for the backup.
And I think that's the only time Pugh's come to a full sprint all game. I mean, if you look at him when he dodges on his defender, it still doesn't even look like he's going full speed. He looks very comfortable out there on offense. Doesn't even need to put in 100% to get open.
33 minutes into this one. Ball's going to go out of bounds. Was tipped by Fort Lewis. It'll remain Montana State ball. No laundry on the field yet today, Max, and that's a testament to the play on the field by both these teams.
Play and coaching, too. I mean, for these guys to be so disciplined, especially when you look at Fort Lewis, who's, their guys have to be somewhat gassed at this point. For them to not, lose their focus and have any penalties committed is really impressive.
Bouncer in on Pike, and Pike just casually fields the ball and starts to work it upfield. Works it to the near side for LaPointe. LaPointe will carry into the offensive zone for Fort Lewis. Fort Lewis trailing by 4 early in the third period. Finally getting the touch is Dorsey for the Skyhawks. Skyhawks with possession, near side, is Wallen. He tries to feed the middle of the field, over and back. It's going to be Montana State ball. Richmond starts it back up. His pass intended for Brown gets away for just a second before Brown's able to scoop it up. Brown tries to feed Deal, who can't come up with the ball. So play's getting a little bit sloppy here in the third quarter. Ball behind the cage. Fed up top for Carroll. Carroll fields it on a bounce, steps down, takes a shot. That's an easy shot for Pike to snatch. Pike has it behind the cage, and he'll start the ball upfield for the Skyhawks. Works it for Yako. Yako feeds it on for O'Gorman, and O'Gorman carries in. We heard at halftime, Max, Coach Mudrack talking about 3 midfielders that are running both ways today. That's going to take its toll on the midfield.
And there's only so much you can do if you can't get guys subbed on for them. That's why Fort Lewis really needs to hang on to this ball offensively. These turnovers are absolutely killing them because you have these two-way middies who aren't going to leave the field, so they need a little bit of breathing time to just settle in, recharge, and be able to run the field. And Fort Lewis just can't hang on to the ball to let their guys do that.
Brown with the ball on the near side wing for the Bobcats. Schwartz and Druber's there defensively, so the ball gets fed up through Carroll to Pugh and around to the far side for Richmond. Back up top for Carroll. This Montana State team has had a really solid season. They've played the best of the best. They may be 9-6 and only ranked number 16 or 15 in the country, but This team has played the best of the best. They are battle-tested were they to make it to the MCLA championships.
I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, if they close out this game, they'll go to the championships for the RMLC. Even if they end up losing that game to Fort Lewis, to Metro State, they've still built up enough of a resume to get these guys into the tournament.
Our second MTS Athletics semifinal, Division II semifinal, will feature Metro State and Colorado Mines. That coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. here in the Rocky Mountains, on whichever outlet you've chosen to watch us on today. Turnover for Fort Lewis. It's Montana State ball. Carried across midfield by Rubenstein. Rubenstein's going to feed it for Brown, and Brown will set the offense now for the Bobcats. He'll kick it down low for Rizzola, and Rizzola's going to work behind the cage to X, feeding it to Richmond. Richmond and Rizzola will trade spaces, and the ball will work back to Brown on the far side. Up top for Pugh. Pugh feeds Richmond. Richmond steps into it. Pike deflects it wide of the cage. 8:02 to play, third quarter. 7-3 is our score. Montana State with the lead. First of 4 games here today. We talked about Metro State and Mines. The attempted one-timers picked out of the air by Pike. Pike works the ball up to midfield, lobs a pass into the offensive zone. Dorsey can't come up with it, so we've got a 50-50 ground ball that's scooped up by Wallen for the Skyhawks. Later on this afternoon at 4 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Eastern, it'll be Utah and BYU, an in-state battle. Those two played last week. It was 14-8. BYU with the win, so Utah looking for a bit of revenge. And then another in-state rivalry, Colorado and Colorado State at 7 p.m. Mountain, 9 on the East Coast. All of those games on any one of our multiple outlets here at the Movement Training Systems RMLC Championship Tournament. Ball worked into the corner. Dimmitt has it. Feeds the wing for Cruz, and Cruz is going to kick it up top. Dowson has it for Fort Lewis. He's picked up by Pugh, cuts to the middle of the field, rolls back. That's a nice little move by Dowson. Too many moves, though. Dowson, a little guy, 5'5", $150, out of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Ball worked down into the far corner. Dimmitt with it. He's going to work his way up to the wing. We're going to have our first flag of the day on the near side. Whistle blows.
To be honest, it was only a matter of time. I mean, Greener has really been tiptoeing the line of what's a penalty and what isn't. I mean, the kid's been throwing lumber all day, and throws the kayak check in there. Kind of just loses a handle on his stick. Gets out of control there, and I think it was a good call by the referee on the slash.
Got the slash. 60 seconds in the sin bin for Greener. Fort Lewis has the extra man opportunity, looking to cut the deficit down to 3. Branch Boyle feeds down low, pass is deflected and scooped up by Buckingham. Nice job by the product from Portland, Oregon, by Buckingham. Ball ends up loose behind the cage. 50-50 ground ball. Scooped up by the Bobcats. Zalda Petrie has it, loses it. And we've got a 50-50 ground ball again. Big hit in the middle of the field. That was a great hit by Schwal. He scoops up the loose ball, carries across midfield. And a failure to advance on Montana State. Henriksen works the ball for Branch Boyle, and Branch Boyle carries it across midfield and does not get the touch quite yet. Now he does. For Fort Lewis. Feed, Dimmitt, save Colesworth. It's the first save of the day for Colesworth.
And a nice take by Dimmitt. I mean, as of right now, offensively, you've completely stalled out. You need something to spark things, for your teammates. So a good take by Dimmitt and Colesworthy with a nice save and a good step. Fort Lewis gets another chance as he can't handle the rebound.
Far side for Walton. Kicks it behind the cage for Cruz. Over to Branch Boyle. Branch Boyle picked up by Deal. Works goal line extended. Brings it up just above GLE. Takes the shot and bounces it home for Fort Lewis. 7-4. Montana State still in the lead.
And Branch Boyle has really been the catalyst on this team so far in this game. He's been the one to take, to force the issue, to take things upon himself to get top side. He's got 2 on the day, 2 of their 4. So he's got 50% of the goals. And, he's seeing the field well, and he still seems to be the only one that's still got some gas left in the tank so far here in the game.
7-4 our score, 4.5 to play, a little over 4.5, 4 minutes and 38 seconds. In the third quarter, Fort Lewis went early on the faceoff. Hunter's going to carry the ball into the offensive zone and get the touch for the Bobcats. He feeds it to Brown on the near side. He'll walk it down to goal line extended. Ball worked far side. Bartu, who's got 1 today. Ball worked to the top. Carroll has it. Feeds it back to Bartu, and he works it behind the cage. Through Rizzolo and all the way back around to Page up top. Page is going to work the ball down the near side. Feed it to Brown, who's going to kick it to Rizzolo. Feed inside. Richmond with a bad angle, but gets the shot off and scores.
Yeah, I really thought Hayden Pike had the save on that one. He had great position on it, and Richmond was really running out of real estate. He was open for a bit. It just took him a second for number 41.
Brown.
Yeah, Alexander Brown to find him there. It looked like his only angle was going to have to be behind the back, but still able to sneak it past Pike.
So 8-4 is our score. Montana State doubling up Fort Lewis. Pace of the game, for me, has been surprisingly slow.
Yeah, the fact that it's an 8-4 game is really surprising. You'd think that Montana State would have pulled away with this one by now, but a 4-goal game is by no means over. I mean, a couple of solid plays by Fort Lewis. The ball bounces the right way for them. They're right back in this one.
Dimmitt has the ball near side, just at the top of the box, and he's going to feed it to Cruz. Cruz, a lefty. He's going to work his way to the near side. Really working to set the offense. Hendrickson with his pull takes the shot. That one fired in on Goldsworthy, and the save is made. Ball bounces out. 50-50 ground ball. He's rolled back to Goldsworthy, who scoops it up and works it to the near side. Greenlee back to Goldsworthy. Up top now. And across midfield, the carry for Zalda-Petrie. Zalda-Petrie feeds the inside. Rizzolo to the middle of the field. Nice shot there by Schwall and a bigger save by Pike. Takeaway check on the clear attempt by Dilly. Ball goes back to Montana State. Brown gets the touch and works to the near side. He'll carry down the near side to the wing and walk it down to goal line extended. He's picked up by Hendrickson. Hendrickson, a tall, lanky defender out of Grand Junction, Colorado. 6'6", $190. So you take that 6'6", and you add that 6-foot pull to it, and he's probably got a reach of 9 to 10 feet easy.
Yeah, that's a great matchup for him, which is why he's following Brown behind the cage with all that length. Makes it difficult to feed the ball over the cage.
There's laundry on the field. We'll await the call from the referees. Looks like it's going to be a slash. It's an interference call. It's a 30-second penalty.
So this will be Montana State's first EMO of the game.
Montana State works the ball around. Bartu, goal line extended, gives it to Richmond. Richmond, great job keeping his head on a swivel, looking for the open man. Feeds the ball into the middle for Bartu. Bartu gets stuffed by Pike. The ball's loose. Pike scoops it up. Rifles one to the middle of the field from LaPointe. LaPointe's going to carry it across midfield. He cuts through two Montana State Bobcats on his way to the far side and feeds the ball over to Yako. Yako with the feed up top. Big hit on the far side. Wallen drops it back down behind the cage for Dimmitt. Dimmitt's going to be picked up defensively by Zelda Petrie. Fort Lewis slowing it down. It's 8-4. We're approaching 1 minute to play here in the third quarter. Ball gets worked around to the top again for Cruz, and Cruz will carry to the far side high, followed by Deal. Skip pass to the near side for Wallen. Wallen works it back to Dimmitt. Dimmitt feeds it all the way across. Ball tries to get into the middle of the field for Wallen. Can't come up with it. Coming the other way with it is Bartu. Bartu has quite the flow coming out of the back of the bucket. Richmond scoops up a loose ball. Feeds it for Pugh. Pugh tries to bounce one home. Bounces over the top of the cage, out of bounds. 8-4 our score, 25 seconds left to play. Third quarter here in Boulder, the first semifinal of the RMLC Division II tournament. Presented by Movement Training Systems. Ball worked to the top for Carroll. Carroll kicks it to Rizzolo. Montana State out shooting Fort Lewis 44-9. That pass is going to get away at midfield. It goes over and back. A nice attempt to save it by Ian Stanley. He's talking about the diversity of the Montana State roster. They've got kids from all over the place, and only 3 on the roster from Montana. 8-4 at the end of 3 at the RMLC Championships, presented by MTS Athletics.
John Bacon, former linebacker at the University of Oregon. There isn't an app out there that takes your data of what you were able to do, define an intensity level, and then interpret that and provide a weight for you for the next set. We're doing things that make football players better power lifters, better direct line sprinters. That's what this is changing. There needs to be an evolution in how we train athletes. This is it.
The team. It teaches us the importance of setting goals, gives us an appreciation of diversity, provides stronger peer relationships and greater self-esteem, and shows the importance of working together. Play It Again Sports has the new and quality used sports and fitness gear for all teams, and we also pay on the spot for your gear from last season. We are on your team. Play It Again Sports, the official sponsor of all those who play.
I was sinking deep underneath.
We are back in Boulder, definitively back in Boulder. The storm clouds moving in over the Flatirons, and we're going to get 2 good, solid games of decent weather in before the storm hits. It looks like it's supposed to start precipitating around 3 p.m. Mountain Time today. So D2 is getting the break today to play in the nice weather. D1 is going to have a rough go of it.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell on this side of the tent. It's night and day. I mean, it's a beautiful, sunshiny day. Big white puffy clouds. You look behind us, though, those clouds are not so white.
They're pretty dark. But that's okay. It's still a beautiful day for lacrosse and a beautiful day for the RMLC championships. Pugh wins the faceoff, has the ball batted out of his cross, comes inside. It's scooped up by Pike. Pike's going to feed the far side for Henriksen. He's going to take those lanky legs and work his way toward midfield, feeding the ball across to Schwartzendruber. Schwartzendruber can't come up with it, but Dimmitt does. Fourth quarter here in game number 1. Feed to the middle of the field, and it's 8-5. Credit that one to Wallen on the assist from Dimmitt.
Yeah, and Dimmitt just making a nice move on his defender. Greener looked like he was going to take him back behind the cage and try and set up the offense, but then a quick stutter step and a dodge towards the center of the field forces the Bobcat defense to slough over, take care of the ball carrier. That leaves Wallen wide open on the crease.
So it's 8-5. Fort Lewis is just hanging around. And that's scary if you're Montana State, that this Fort Lewis team's hanging around. They have, in their last 2 games, had some pretty decent comebacks, 5 and 6 goal comebacks against Northern Arizona, in which NAU had to score a goal with 20 seconds left to come away with the win. And then this 5-goal comeback or a 6-goal comeback against UC Denver, University of Colorado at Denver. And ended up winning that one. So Fort Lewis not unaccustomed to trailing.
I think this one would outdo the other 2 comebacks that they had if they were able to tie this one up against Montana State, who is, head and shoulders above NAU and CU Denver.
Ball worked behind the cage. Dimmitt tries to feed it to the front. Pass is picked off by Schwal. Schwal out of Fort Collins, Colorado. Works the ball near side for Brown. Brown's pass is batted away by Schwartzendruber. Rizzolo scoops it up, feeds it to the top of the field for Rubenstein. Rubenstein's going to carry and reset the Montana State offense. Working it behind the cage to Richmond. Richmond over Pike's left shoulder. Carries to X. Now he's going to dodge from X, coming up just above the top. Feeds the middle of the field for Rubenstein. He can't come up with it. Nice defense there by Schwartzendruber. The outlet pass intended for Schwartzendruber gets away, and it rolls out of bounds. Give that ball to Montana State. Bobcats will work the clear through their goaltender, Colesworth.
I think the biggest surprise of the second half so far is the switch is completely flipped off for the Bobcat offense. It is the complete opposite of how they were operating in the first half. They were getting looks from down below with their attackmen. Their middies were firing from 15 yards out. Everything was clicking for them. And then here in the second half, they've been settling for really bad angle shots, rolling down the right alley, trying to force the ball into the center of the field. They're just not clicking nearly as well as they were in the first 2 quarters.
Ball work behind the cage. Brown has it. Feeds it up top for Richmond. Richmond looks up top for Page, and Page is going to dodge the right alley. Page fights off his man, gets past him, and shoots. The ball goes high over the top of the cage. Brown has the backup. Brown's going to carry it back out to the wing and give it up for Richmond. Richmond's picked up defensively by LaPointe, so he'll feed it up top for Carroll. Carroll dodges the near side alley, bounces one past Pike. A great look from Carroll. A nice soft shot, bouncing home.
Sticking his left hand, too. So, shows that he's a multi-dimensional player, as he's been predominantly right-handed for the majority of the game, but such a big body, too. He's got one move, and that's running downhill. So when he gets a full head of steam, there's not a whole lot that you can do to stop his train of motion, and then he buries one on the low post.
9-5 our score on the MTS RMLC Championships.
Tribal West is the first name in lacrosse out west. For more than 15 years, Tribal West has been gearing up beginners to ballers. Our online store is super easy, and we save you time and money. And team stores, let us do your work. Our deals for both men's and women's MCLA teams are flat out lax-tastic. We just made that up. Sublimated unis, made in the USA, and delivered on time. Tribal West, proud to be family-owned and player-operated. Tribal West, look good, play better.
Welcome back to Boulder, everybody. 9-5 is our score. We're in the fourth quarter. Montana State with the lead over Fort Lewis. And Max, it really has kind of been a tale of two stories for Fort Lewis.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, in the first half, they were turning the ball over like crazy. I mean, it was a total of 14 in the first two quarters. There in the last 15 minutes, they turned the ball over 3 times. You know, and I'm sure Coach Mudrack is still losing his head over those 3 turnovers. But regardless, with the numbers that they have today, and you can't stress it enough, you know, bringing a roster of 15 to play in potentially 2 games in 2 days is extremely difficult. So for these guys to come out of halftime, you know, lower the amount of turnovers that they have, possess the ball, and able to put two goals in the back of the cage as opposed and match what Montana State was doing. I mean, these guys, they should have a lot of confidence going into this final quarter.
9-5 our score. We've got a hold on Fort Lewis on the faceoff. So Pugh was set for Montana State. He's going to feed Rizzola. Rizzola's going to come to the middle of the field, take the shot. It goes wide to the near side. Brown's there for the backup. Brown has the ball near side. Marked up by Henriksen. Kicks the ball to Pugh at the top of the box. Pugh feeds the middle of the field for Carroll. Carroll's going to go one-on-one. Bounce the shot. Pike's going to make the save. Fort Lewis will head the other way. The pace of this game is going to dictate whether or not Fort Lewis can get into it. They're going to have to start to get more transition opportunities. Pass is batted away by Buckingham. Out of bounds. Ball remains with the Skyhawks. Diego has the ball. Circles around to the far side, bringing it above goal line extended and feeding it for Dorsey. Dorsey kicks it up top for Cruz, and Cruz has Pugh on him. Back to Dorsey. Carroll in tow. So Dorsey's going to feed it low for Yako. Yako back up top for Dorsey. Dorsey is going to pull it all the way out. Can feel it starting to get a little bit cooler here in Boulder. Mentioned the storm that's blowing in. Precipitation due in at about 3 p.m. Ball worked to the near side. It's 51 degrees right now. That's a goal for Fort Lewis. Credit that one to Branch Boyle.
Who else but Jacob Branch Boyle? I mean, the guy has been Mr. Everything on the offensive end, and that was another just solid individual effort right there. Wraps around the cage, takes matters into his own hands, low cradle, protects the ball against his chest, able to get a look on Colesworthy, and then rockets it past his shoulder.
9-6, 10:15 to play. Mentioned it a while ago, Fort Lewis no stranger to the comeback. Montana State needs to look over the shoulder and not take the pressure off. Hunter is going to win this faceoff for Montana State. He gets possession, carries it back into the offensive zone for the Bobcats. There's that long reach of Henderson. Hunter carries all the way around and feeds the ball to Brown. Goal line extended near side. He's going to carry it back behind the cage over the right shoulder of Pike. Washington there defensively for Fort Lewis. Ball works around the cage. Brown brings it back up top. Feeds Page. Page has quick release. Takes the shot. That one's going to bounce off of a helmet. Out of bounds. Back up to Brown. That one's in the parking lot. Brown will restart at the top on the near side and feed Carroll in the middle of the field. Over to Page. Page picked up by Dilly. The ball works all the way back around behind the cage for Richmond. Richmond far side for Rizzolo, up top for Bartu, and Bartu's going to give it back to Page. Good ball movement for Montana State. Page comes all the way around, feeds the ball behind the cage to Richmond. Richmond with the pass up top. Carroll, his shot right into the breadbasket of Pike. Pike's able to control the ball. And we've got a timeout on the field for Fort Lewis. That 8:55 to play, 9-6. Movement Training Systems, RMLC Championships.
MTS has guided my training since high school. I thought I knew how to run, but after them breaking it down and showing you actually the fundamentals, I could feel myself getting faster after each session. I've had to kind of look in within myself and make it a goal of myself just to become a better athlete, and MTS has helped me get along that way.
And Eric Moss put this team on his back here.
It brings that individual personal training to the team concept. But they're scientific behind it. They are helping athletes become quicker, faster, and stronger.
At 5280 Waste Solutions.
Back in Boulder, everybody, 9-6. There was an injury on the far side of the field. That was a rather quick timeout on the field. 9-6 is our score, 8.5 to play. Fort Lewis has the ball on the far side. They'll restart. Branch Boyle's going to feed it near side for Schwarzendruber. Schwarzendruber carries into the box, gets the touch, and feeds the near side wing for Cruz. Cruz carries, goal line extended. Tries to work the ball to Wallen, can't do it. Ball gets deflected by Colesworthy, and there's a 50-50 ground ball behind the cage. Fort Lewis pass is going to get away. Ooh. Referee was right on top of it. I thought that was pretty close to being saved on that over and back, but possession actually happened in the middle. There's a nice one-timer. The feed to Rizzolo, and Rizzolo taps it home.
Man, that call kills you if you're Coach Mudrack on the far side. I mean, the ball didn't cross over midfield. His defender, Henriksen, trying to save it, goes over midfield. So I think the ref was a little preemptive with that whistle, and then going the other way in transition. Montana State buries one. I mean, that's back-to-back tough blows for Fort Lewis, who's desperately trying to claw back into this one.
Technical foul against Fort Lewis off of that is going to give the ball to Montana State with no face-off. Exactly 8 minutes to play. Our score is 10-6. Bobcats with the lead. Pugh has the ball near side high, marked up defensively by Dorsey. Worked back around behind the cage to Rizzolo. Rizzolo's going to feed it back to Brown. Henriksen steps out, so Brown feeds it up top for Pugh, who moves it along for Page. Page gives it back to Pugh, and Pugh's going to go one-on-one. Takes the left-handed shot. That one goes off the crossbar. It's going to go out of bounds. Right there for the backup on the far side is Richmond. Bobcat ball. They lead 10-6. Time to start thinking about our player of the game, Max. And right now, I'm thinking Greenlee defensively and maybe Pugh offensively, because Pugh's really just kind of done it all.
Yeah, I mean, it's been very evenly distributed on offense. So you've got a couple of guys you can go to. You can go to Pugh. You can go to Page. You can also go to Rizzolo, because he's been the quarterback behind the cage. He's been working the ball very well, finding the open man, which is why the offense, the scoring has been pretty even.
Bounce shot wide of the cage. Brown there for the backup. Looks like Richmond took a hit on the shoulder off of that. Brown will start the ball back in play for Montana State. Bobcats ball. Pugh up top. Takes the shot. That's an easy save for Pike. Pike will step out of his crease and work the ball up the field. Carry across midfield by Dorsey. Dorsey's picked up right there by Pugh. Beepers of the referees going off. Long time to get the touch, but they do. Ball worked behind the cage now by Dimmitt. He's being trailed by Greenlee. Dimmitt circles back, now goes back around the far side, feeds the middle of the field for Wallen. Wallen can't come up with it. Ball loose. We're going to have a loose ball push on Montana State. It'll remain with Fort Lewis.
Dimmitt struggling on the far side over there. Not sure if he took a hack to the hand, but he's reeling a little bit.
Ball worked to the top. Branch Boyle feeds the inside for Rieko. Yako takes the shot. It goes wide. Fort Lewis there for the backup. Another one to consider is Richmond. 1 goal, 4 assists for Lewis Richmond. Right now, I'd have to say, based statistically only, you've got to give it to Richmond.
Yeah, 5 points on the day, and that's Coach's favorite player right there, is the guy who can distribute the ball to the right people, and then when he finds the open area, then go ahead and take it yourself.
Ball worked up to the top. Branch Boyle with it. Time ticking down on Fort Lewis. Approaching 5 minutes to play, fourth quarter. Skyhawks trailing 10-6. There's a shot. Branch Boyle wide of the cage. Referee's timeout on the field for just a moment. Ball's going to start far side corner with Wallen. Wallen picked up by Buckingham. Carries it up to the wing. Feeds it through Yako up to Cruz. Cruz is going to dodge from the top. Tries to go down Main Street. Nice slide there by Page. Ball worked down low now for Dimmitt. Dimmitt picked up by Greenlee. Tries to circle the cage. Nowhere to go. Great job by Greenlee. Greenlee taking his hacks. Flag comes out. Ball comes loose. It's picked up in the back by Branch Boyle. That shot goes wide of the cage. We're going to have a slash coming up on Greenlee. 4:09 to play, period number 4. 10-6, Bobcats.
I mean, the size mismatch is one thing between Greeley and Dimmitt, but it's been a pretty consistent play by Greeley.
Greener, not Greenlee, my bad.
Greener for the majority, for pretty much the entirety of the game. I mean, when that guy winds up for a check, it's landing somewhere. He doesn't hold up. Either it's going to be on stick or it's going to be on your forearm. It's his second slash of the day. Could be more.
Fort Lewis ball with the extra man opportunity. 45 seconds remaining there. Ball gets worked near side. Through Branch Boyle, down low for Cruz. Ball worked, far side. There's a shot, wide of the cage by Dimmitt. Restart in the near side corner with Cruz. Fort Lewis needs a goal every 45 seconds now, roughly. They want to tie this one up before regulation expires. Ball poked free on the far side. 50-50 ground ball now. It's going to be scooped up by Schwal. Schwal carries across midfield. Gets the touch in the box. 3 minutes to go, period 4, 10-6, Montana State. Schwal tiptoes the end line, steps out of bounds, and the ball's going to go back over to Fort Lewis.
You've got 3 minutes left in your collegiate career if you're the seniors here on Fort Lewis. I mean, this is where you give it everything that you have. This is where you start pushing the ball in transition. You start taking some more risks because what do you have to lose at this point? If it's lose or win or go home.
And there are 7 seniors on this roster. And there's our timeout on the field, Fort Lewis. They trail 10-6. This is the RMLC Championships, presented by Movement Training Systems.
Tribal West is the first name in lacrosse out west. For more than 15 years, Tribal West has been gearing up beginners to ballers. Our online store is super easy, and we save you time and money. And team stores, let us do your work. Our deals for both men's and women's MCLA teams are flat out lax-tastic. We just made that up. Sublimated unis, made in the USA, and delivered on time. Tribal West, proud to be family-owned and player-operated. Tribal West, look good, play better.
I was sinking deep underneath.
The specialists at Highlands Ranch Glass have one goal: to offer you the most professional commercial and residential glass services in the metro area. Our expert glass services include shower enclosures, window glass repair, and commercial storefronts. Our Glassworks operation allows us to customize any job for the perfect glass solution. We've been providing high-quality glass services in the metro area for over 60 years. Highlands Ranch Glass offers a clear difference. Call us today and see for yourself.
Welcome back, everybody, to Boulder. The final 2 minutes and 40 seconds of action here in game number 1 in the RMLC Championships presented by Movement Training Systems. Stay tuned for our post-game show, which will be presented by the CU Sports Medicine and Performance Center. Fort Lewis with the ball, trailing by 4, and the ball gets kicked up to Branch Boyle. Branch Boyle's going to carry across the top of the box to the near side. Keeps his head on a swivel and kicks it down low for Yako. Yako works it behind the cage for Dimmitt. Dimmitt fires one up intended for Hendrickson. That ball comes loose, over and back. Ball will belong to Montana State. Bobcats with the ball, a 4-goal lead, approaching 2 minutes left to play here in game number 1. Ball gets worked far side. Brown has it coming up at 1 p.m. Mountain, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's Metro State, Metropolitan State University, Denver, taking on Colorado Mines. Brown bounces one home behind Pike, and it's 11-6.
Brown looked like he was trying to run out the clock a little bit, just trying to avoid his defender, able to get top side and get a good look on Cage and put a nice low bouncer over the shoulder of Pike. Fort Lewis kind of has to be hesitant here at the face-off X because they're past the 3 procedure mark. So you have to be aggressive because you're down 5 goals, but at the same time you can't put your team man down for the final minute 50.
Pugh snags a face-off, so it's decision time, Max. Pugh or Richmond?
I think on stats alone, you have to go with Richmond. I think Pugh came out of the gates very hot. He seemed like a player who could really take over the game if need be. Second half hasn't really been his friend, and Richmond has been consistent throughout the course of the game, and you got to love 4 assists on the day in an 11-goal game. He's been a major impact on what's looking to be a victory for Montana State.
Carroll pulls the ball out. Montana State taking the air out of the ball. Pressing out defensively, though, is Dilly. Carroll gets past Dilly, fires one on Cage. That save's made by Pike. Washington and Carroll hit the turf.
Fort Lewis desperately trying to make something happen. Attempting the clear here, no good, and that was LaPointe who loses a handle on the ball. Flag flies as the ball rolls out of bounds. Last touch by Rizzolo as he's trying to feed his cutting attackman on the inside, Richmond. They'll call Fort Lewis with the offsides, and that should just about do it with 48 seconds left on the clock.
48 seconds left. Our player of the game is going to be Lewis Richmond for Montana State. Max Frater will be heading across the field to interview Richmond and head coach Chris Kelly at the conclusion of this one. Richmond with the ball. Feeds inside for Brown, rattles it off the pipe, bounces back out to Page, and fires wide. 22 seconds to go. Brown has it for Montana State. Works the inside, goes high to high, and that goal will count, making our score 12-6. That's 2 in a row for Alexander Brown. out of Danville, California, San Ramon Valley High School.
That's Brown's second score of the game.
Coach Kelly really likes Brown. And we certainly understand why. That's 3 unanswered now for the Bobcats to pull away. The final 15 seconds of this one. We're looking at another face-off win, potentially. Now we got a flag down. Whistles blow. 7 seconds left in this one. 12-6 is our score. Again, don't forget to stay tuned for the CU Sports Medicine and Performance Center post-game show. Interviews with the player of the game, the winning coach, and the MTS athletic move of the game, which we've given to Jacob Branch Boyle for the Fort Lewis Skyhawks. So we'll have a recap of that here on the post-game show. 5 seconds. Montana State is going to run out the clock, and they'll move on to play the winner of our next one between Metro State and Colorado Mines. Your final score here, 12-6. The Movement Training Systems RMLC Championships will be back with player and coach interviews right after this.
Tribal West is the first name in lacrosse out west. For more than 15 years, Tribal
The
West
postgame is brought to you by CU Sports Medicine and Performance Center.
And we save you time and money. Team stores, let us do it. Our deals for both men's and women's MCLA teams are flat out lax-tastic. We just made that up. Sublimated unis, made in the USA, and delivered on time. Tribal West, proud to be family-owned and player-operated. Tribal West, look good, play better.
I was sinking deep underneath.
The specialists at Highlands Ranch Glass have one goal: to offer you the most professional commercial and residential glass services in the metro area. Our expert glass services include shower enclosures, window glass repair, and commercial storefronts. Our Glassworks operation allows us to customize any job for the perfect glass solution. We've been providing high-quality glass services in the metro area for over 60 years. Highlands Ranch Glass offers a clear difference. Call us today and see for yourself.
Welcome back to Boulder, everybody. Our final score, 12-6 in favor of Montana State. They'll move on to play the winner of our next game between Metro State and Colorado Mines. A great performance for Coach Chris Kelly and his Montana State Bobcats. We are awaiting Coach Kelly and Lewis Richmond for our post-game interviews, but real solid performance for Montana State. I think that Coach Kelly may wind up not being super happy with it, and we'll work out some kinks between now and tomorrow when we've got our Division II championship game at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, 4 p.m. on the East Coast. A great game here between Fort Lewis and Montana State, and let's go ahead and send it down to Max Frater with Coach Kelly and Lewis Richmond. Max?
Max Frater here with the winning head coach from Montana State, Chris Kelly, and our player of the game, Lewis Richmond. Coach, I'll start with you. We were standing here at a 7-3 halftime. Offense slowed down a little bit, but you guys were able to close out the game, scoring 5 in the second half. What did you talk to your guys about offensively?
Just slowing ball a little bit more. We had to give our defense a rest, get possession, start moving off ball so we could kind of get the clock running in our favor a little bit.
First postseason win here in 2017. What does this mean as things start to go deeper into the season?
Focus, just getting started.
Thanks, Coach. And for you, Lewis, 1 goal, 4 assists on 7 shots, 2 ground balls. You're kind of all over the stat sheet today. What was your big focus heading into today's game?
Yeah, I mean, I knew those guys were going to be sliding early, so I was going to be a feeder today, not much of a goal scorer. So, just got to share the love with your other teammates. And as long as we get the W, that's all that matters.
What did you see out of your team in today's performance that you like moving forward?
Our resiliency, we kept our composure, we didn't get down on ourselves, and even though the game got close towards the end, we still kept putting the ball in the net.
Excellent. Congratulations to the both of you. Good luck tomorrow. Back to you guys for postgame.
Thanks, Max. We appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and send it to break. This is the CU Sports Medicine and Performance Center postgame show.
The team. It teaches us the importance of setting goals, gives us an appreciation of diversity, provides stronger peer relationships and greater self-esteem, and shows the importance of working together. Play It Again Sports has the new and quality used sports and fitness gear for all teams, and we also pay on the spot for your gear from last season. We are on your team. Play It Again Sports, the official sponsor of all those who play.
Your passion is your story. Big Bite tells stories. Your story is your brand. Big Bite builds brands. Your brand is your business. Big Bite. You do you. We'll do the rest.
It's the best smoke show in Denver. GQ Barbecue is Colorado's premier competitive barbecue team, and now you can experience their championship-winning flavors. Fire, smoke, and time, combined with the finest quality meats, best seasonings, and freshest ingredients, make for the best barbecue around. Stop in for our championship-winning brisket, ribs, wings, and sausage, or have us cater your next event. Eat championship barbecue every day at GQ Barbecue.
State winning game number 1, 12-6, and Max for Montana State. Maybe not the world's greatest performance, but it's a win, and they've got some things that they can take back and work on for tomorrow.
Without a doubt, I think the biggest thing is playing 4 quarters. I think in the first 2 quarters offensively, they were really able to string a lot of good looks together, put 7 goals up in 30 minutes, which is something that Coach Kelly's happy about. Third quarter, things really started to slip a bit. They were settling for some bad angle shots. Fort Lewis was able to hang on to the ball a little bit better and start to creep back into that game. I think at the end of the day, numbers really took over, and of course the talent on Montana State side was that much more than what Fort Lewis brought here today.
Shots equals goals. 58 shots for Montana State to 15 for Fort Lewis. That's something that Montana State's going to have to do against the winner of this next game.
Without a doubt, and I mean, if things go the way that seeding goes, Metro State and Montana State met earlier this season, and that's a team that they lost to, so you know they're going to come into tomorrow hungry. And I think with 58 shots, you put a couple more of those on cage, you're going to find the scoreboard looking a lot better than it did today.
It's time now for our MTS athletic move of the game, and that belongs to Jacob Branch Boyle from the Fort Lewis Skyhawks.
Branch Boyle here starting from behind the cage, working up against the long pull defender, was really the catalyst on offense all game for the Skyhawks in that play right there, just able to tuck his stick, protect it with his chest, and a nice spin move to wrap around and finish right there on the crease.
Great game for game number 1. Looking forward to game number 2, Metro State and Mines. That one coming up at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. The MTS Athletics RMLC Championships here on every network possible. We'll be back in just a little while.
Move better with Dari, a markerless, predictive motion analytics platform designed to help people avoid injury and achieve their peak performance. Anyone, regardless of age or fitness level, can step in front of the camera system, and Dari will immediately map, collect, and process their musculoskeletal data. Dari captures full body, kinematics, and kinetics, without time-consuming markers, special clothing, or force plates. Unlike marker-based systems, Dari delivers accurate, objective data quickly. This makes it easy to reassess people often and gives quantifiable results for easy comparisons. Dari helps prevent injuries before they happen. Through 19 movements in the functional motion analysis, the Dari technology platform identifies muscle use patterns that can lead to non-contact injuries. Results can be applied the same day as a scan. Dari processes human movement in seconds. The data files are automatically uploaded to a secure cloud-based server and are accessible anytime. Previous technology required waiting days or weeks for results that needed in-depth analysis. Dari delivers a customized, easy-to-read report within minutes of a person's scan. Dari helps people move better. You're invited to schedule an